Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about the priority of selectors. Okay. So here I have made a simple page, and in the page I just have one paragraph which says this is a test paragraph. Okay. I'll minimize this and I'll open this in Notepad, and you can see I just have one paragraph here. Okay. So let me minimize this. I have connected a style sheet which is here. I'll open the style sheet in Notepad, and you can see there is nothing here. Okay. So let us style the web page now. I'll go to style sheet and I'll say P, right? P, and I'll say color and green, and I'll close this. I will save this and I will refresh it to get this in green color. Okay, so you know about this. So let me go here once again and let me say P once again, and now let me say color and red. Alright, color and red. Let me close it. Let me save it. And what do you think the color of this will be when I hit refresh? Because you see I have P selector here and a rule, P selector here and a rule. So there is a conflict between these two. Correct? There is a conflict between these two because I'm saying color should be green here and I'm saying color should be red here. So which one will be selected? Let us see that. I'll refresh it and it comes in red color. Okay. So when you have multiple elements with multiple rules, multiple same elements with multiple rules, the latest rule gets applied to the element. So this is the first rule. This is the latest rule or last rule. Okay. The latest rule gets applied to the paragraph. Alright. So let me say P once again and I'll say color yellow, and I'll close this. I will save it. I will refresh it to get this in yellow color. Okay, yellow color. So the latest rule is this. These two are ignored and this is applied. Basically, all three are applied, but latest rule gets shown. Okay, gets shown. Next, let me go here. Let me go here and let me say ID is equal to para. Okay, let me create an ID selector. I've saved this. I've created ID equal to para. Let me go to style sheet and here let me say, all right, para, and let me say color green. Let me close it. Let me save it. Let me refresh it, and I can see I have paragraph in green color. So here I've used an ID selector. Alright. So next I'll say para once again and I'll say color and red. I'll close this. Let me save it and let me refresh it, and you can see the text comes in red color. And here too the latest rule gets applied. Latest rule is this, initial rule is this. Alright. So if I had this here, if I had this here, then the latest rule gets applied and we have the text in green color. Okay, green color. So let me delete this. Let me save it. Let me refresh it to get it in default black color. Now here, let me create a class instead of ID. So class is equal to para. Let me save this. I'll go back to this. I'll use dot selector para and I'll say color green and I'll close this. Let me save it. Let me refresh it to get it in green color. And here I'll say dot para and I'll say color red, and I'll close this, save it, refresh it to get it in red color. So here too the latest rule gets applied. Okay. Now let us combine these. Let me delete it Let me save it. Let me refresh it to get it in black. So here I'll say P and I'll say ID is equal to class. Okay, ID is equal to class. Sorry, not class, ID is equal to para. So we can have the same name for ID and also class. So do not worry about it. It can be same. Alright. So here I'll say P and I'll say color yellow. I'll say color yellow and I'll close this and I'll say para. Now I'm using ID selector, color green. I'll close this and I'll say para. Now it is class selector, color and blue. Alright. So which I'll save it. Which one do you think will get applied to this? Let us see it. Let me refresh it. So I have this in green color. So what was green color? Green color was ID selector. Okay. So green color was in ID selector. Alright. So out of the element selector, ID selector and class selector, ID selector was applied and not the latest one. Okay. So to understand this, we must know this. Alright. So this is the order of priority that is followed by CSS. Okay. So highest priority is of this. Okay. This is exclamation important keyword. So I have not explained this. I'll explain it at the end of this video. Do not worry about it. First priority or highest priority is this. Next is inline. Alright, inline. I'm going to show it to you in a few moments. Third is ID selector. Fourth is class selector. Fifth is element selector. And sixth is universal selector. I have not taught about universal selector. We do not generally use universal selector here. Okay, it is for different purpose. So I will not be explaining this, but we will see about these. Alright. So this is of least priority and this is of highest priority. Okay. Now element selector. What is this? Element selector is this. Okay. We use direct element selector and give value. Okay. Class selector, the dot selector. Okay. Class selector or pseudo class selector is this. Alright, this. And next is ID selector. ID selector is this. Alright. So out of ID selector, class selector and element selector, which is of highest priority, ID selector. What do we have in ID selector? Color green. And that is why green color was applied here. Okay, green color was applied here. If we had a different selector, inline selector, then we would have had that property. So let me show it to you now. So you know about inline method of styling, correct? Inline method of styling. We generally do not use it, but let me show it to you. I'll say style is equal to color. And let me say, what color am I missing here? Let me say orange. Okay, orange. Alright, color is equal to orange. And let me save this. And let me go here. And is it saved? Is this saved? This is saved. Yes. Yeah. Let me refresh it. And you can see orange color is applied to the text. So out of these four, element selector, ID selector, class selector and the inline method of writing CSS. Inline method is of higher priority and so it gets applied to the text. Okay, it gets applied to the text. Alright. Next we have this important. So let us check it out. Alright. So I'll say this, and I'll say important. Okay, important, and I will save this, and I will refresh it here, and you can see the text comes in yellow color. So basically, exclamation important is a keyword, alright, keyword, and wherever you use this, that particular rule will be given highest priority, alright. So it is of highest priority, and that rule will be applied to the text, alright. So let us check one more. So let me delete this, okay, let me delete from here, and let me say exclamation important, okay, important. Let me save this and let me refresh it, and you can see that particular rule will be applied, green, right? So even though I have an inline method, okay, inline method. So first is important, then is inline, all right. So I'll cut it from here, okay, I'll cut it from here and I'll paste it here, and I'll save this and I'll refresh it. So I have blue color because I have this keyword here. So this is just a keyword which we use to force to implement the rule, okay. But then this is not generally used, okay. This is just a hack. This is normally not used while programming. So here, if we go to this order of priority, we do not generally use number 1, number 2 and number 6, okay. So it is always between number 3, 4 and 5. ID selector, class or pseudo class selector and element selector. Out of these three, ID selector is of highest priority. Then comes class and then comes element selector, okay. So let me delete the inline method. Let me delete the inline method. Yeah, inline method. Let me delete the inline method and let me save it. So I have the ID selector here. It is already saved. So let me refresh it. Yeah, this is not saved, I guess. Yeah, this is saved. So this is saved. Okay, I have this important, correct. So it is overriding it. So let me save it. Let me refresh it. So it comes in green color. So we generally use these three, and out of element, ID and this is of highest preference, okay. So that's it for this video. Go ahead and experiment with all the rules that we have learnt in this video. Try out some new things before moving to the next video. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and thank you for watching.